9 years on from that spectacular first league goal, Glenn Hoddle's massive potential is still not totally fulfilled, unable again to break into the England team in Belfast on Wednesday. But for most Tottenham supporters, Hoddle's unique abilities hold the key to their challenge for the championship. Today, Spurs have Paul Miller back from the hamstring injury sustained in the FA Cup defeat at Liverpool. But Tony Galvin's return is earmarked for Real Madrid next Wednesday, so Ali Dick stays on the left of midfield. While Garth Crooks, who started his career here at Stoke, has that special incentive to do well against the former club. It's home products that Stoke must rely on today. 7 former apprentices, including Alan Dodd, who's returned from Wolves on a monthly contract, and Philip Heath, who takes over from the injured Mark Chamberlain. Barry Siddall, on loan from Port Vale, is the 5th goalkeeper used by Stoke this season, while Keith Birchin has been so starved of chances since his November move from Norwich that he's still awaiting his first goal. And today's referee comes from Halifax. It's Trevor Simpson. Tottenham's away record inducing tremendous support and probably outnumbering the Stoke City fans here. So Stoke kick off with a weakening grip on their first division status, but from this stage last season they produced 30 points from their last 16 games to produce a miraculous escape, and their hope now is to try to emulate that, as John Chidozie instantly on the receiving end. And a cautionary word for the player who put him there, Chris Mascari. Chidozie's threat such that an early tackle is always likely for him of that nature. Now Houghton. Hoddle. Houghton stayed forward, and it was dragged away by Berry, only as far as Houghton. And Crooks was in, sensing a chance. And Dick was trying to loop it back. And lacked the execution, with Siddall just straying off his line in the skirmish that had happened a moment or two earlier. Was Houghton doing well to play the ball in first time, and Berry, sliding in, found the ball stuck under his boot and hacked it away from Crooks. Roberts into the back of Painter. It's been a harrowing season for the Stoke youngsters, like Ian Painter. Really, Bill Asprey forced by financial circumstance to include more young players than he would like. Perriman. Here's Crooks, linking up with Hoddle, and that raking pass in the Hoddle manner. But bold with the longer stride, getting ahead of Dick. But Glenn Hoddle, so effective when players in front of him are moving away from him towards the opponent's goal. Hoddle can pick them out on their run. Poor clearance from Siddall, knocked forward by Falco. Crooks is in. The chip is just too high, and the player who scored goals here to help Stoke into the first division back in 1979 had an opportunity from Siddall's weak clearance to put his former club in further trouble, but you could see how close the chip was. So a let-off for Stoke, and that will certainly work in their favour. The last thing they wanted was to concede an early goal. Painter over the shoulder from Hoddle. Berry was there first, but the control wasn't good enough, and Crooks took it from him. Dyson. Hoddle. 20 minutes of the first half remaining. Here's Gary Stevens for Tottenham. Crooks given time to turn on the edge of the area. That could have been costly for Stoke. I think even Crooks was surprised. The ball delivered crisply to his feet, but First Division defenders really should get tighter. One for Painter to chase. He accelerated for a moment away from Roberts. It certainly didn't go out. Heath prepared to take Roberts on. Now Dodd. Stoke really looking for some quality, and the final ball played in now. They've allowed Tottenham to get their numbers back. And then it's rather just humped forward by Berry. And the moment had long passed. Chidozie. Tottenham not short of wing skill themselves, of course. Immediately one says that. The ability to beat a player isn't matched by the cross. From Chidozie, I think can be a little infuriating to have in your side. Such rich ability. Stevens. Free kick given against Dyson for a push on Mark Falco, who's found it hard to get into the game in the first half. So Perriman has gone across to take the free kick. Looks for Falco. He was pushed right on the edge of the area by Berry. Falco, who was involved in the skirmish at White Hart Lane, which saw George Berry sent off earlier this season. And it's well within the compass of Glenn Hoddle, as Siddall will know only too well. Either side of the ball stand Stevens and Roberts. And the referee making sure Stoke get back the required distance. Here's Hoddle, pushed onto the post. Credit the goalkeeper with a fine save. It was quite clear what was coming. Barry Siddall just got the answer and had a bit of luck as well. Certainly his fingertips onto the post. And then behind by Crooks with a goal kick. Here's Heath. Crooks having to work back. And it's been no easy passage for the team that started the day second in the First Division. As indeed Peter Shreve, the Tottenham manager, expected. He'll be pleased with Glenn Hoddle's contribution, which included the moment that brought us closest to a goal when his shot from a free kick was touched onto a post by Barry Siddall. But at half-time at the Victoria Ground, it's Stoke City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. So away go Tottenham at the start of the second half. Stoke City looking to end a run now that has gone 8.5 hours without a goal in the First Division. Tottenham knowing that a draw here really isn't enough for them, and Siddall, a terrible error, and Crooks says thank you. 21 seconds into the second half. Crooks with a look of disbelief. Barry Siddall would want the ground to open up and swallow him up. It was hit too long this time by Hoddle, but Siddall all over the place. An open goal for Garth Crooks against his old club. Tottenham in the lead. And you're looking for moments of good fortune to win few championships, Tottenham will perhaps look back at the mistake by Siddall, and Garth Crooks will have no easier task. Falco and Stoke, who would be pleased with the way they got in the first half, now have the familiar uphill battle. Well, in his efforts to keep Stoke City afloat, Bill Asprey has had to go into hospital for physical and mental exhaustion. Happily he's recovered now, but Barry Siddall's mistake might have induced a relapse. McElroy trying to keep Stoke ticking over in midfield. Tottenham continuing to work hard. Berry. Now Birchin. And Clements in the same situation that Siddall found himself in. But he's made a career of coming outside his area as the last defender, has Ray Clements. Painter losing out. Dick is on his way. What will he do this time? He tries to set up Crooks. Off the bar. Corner given, but this time more composure from Ali Dick, and Crooks rattled the bar after it touched Alan Dodd on the way. Over Roberts, here's Stevens. Tottenham repositioning. Dick. That's Miller. Siddall didn't touch it. Paul Miller hasn't scored since the first leg of last season's UEFA Cup final. He's been taking a spot of gentle ribbing from his teammates about that fact. Don't really have to gamble now. Painter chases, hoping for a slip by Roberts. It wasn't forthcoming. Dyson misjudged it. Gold was the defender behind him. Bottle. Few players in the country could have found Garth Crooks the way that Hoddle did then. You can see how close Crooks was initially, but he knew where Hoddle wanted to play it. And Tottenham have another corner. Aiming to attack the ball around the penalty spot, but only if the corner arrives in the air. Perryman across covering. Waddle. Siddall will have to endure the jeers from the Tottenham fans behind him for the remainder of the game, you can be sure of that. Birchin penalised this time for backing in. Crooks. Good layoff. And Stevens clean through. Good positioning by Siddall. The direct route from Tottenham. Roberts' free kick, searching out Crooks, who'd come off George Berry. Stevens bearing down on Siddall's goal, but couldn't thread the shot past him. Alan Dodd is the player who is called off. Steve Parkin, 19-year-old midfield player, captain Stoke's youth team last season, comes on with 10 minutes left. So a last throw of the dice by Bill Asprey. Parkin involved straight away. Threat easily quashed by Tottenham. They could have had more than the one goal by which they lead. Houghton. Stevens. And now Chidozie. Marco and Crooks have repositioned in the area, and then left Stevens. He's manipulated shooting openings throughout the match, Gary Stevens, on his 200th league appearance. And it flicked Siddle's fingertips, it flicked the bar. Dick with the corner once more. Stevens climbing the highest. Back from Chidozie. Crooks! That's a superb save. That makes up for the slip. But Garth Crooks must have felt he scored again here, but a reflex save by Siddle to keep him out. Birchin. A catastrophic error by Barry Siddle in the Stoke goal, the sort of thing that happens when your team is at the bottom of the table. Gave Garth Crooks a welcome home present to Stoke and gave Tottenham their 9th away win in the First Division this season. Stoke's hopes of matching last season's miraculous escape from relegation surely are receding, and Tottenham can now look forward to 10 of their remaining 15 league games.